Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the idea of why.
Ooh, why?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that driving force behind everything we do.
Right.
Our guide for this deep dive are excerpts from Find Your Why
Okay.
by Simon Sinek, David Mead, and Peter Docker.
You know what's really intriguing about this book is how it takes Simon Sinek's, famous start with why concept and makes it something practical.
Right.
You can actually use this in your own life. It's not just theory.
Yeah, more than just a motivational poster, right?
Exactly.
We hear Find Your Why everywhere these days.
Right.
What makes this book different?
Well, they have this thing called the golden circle,
Okay.
the why. How, what, you might already be familiar with that, but this book
Okay.
connects it to brain science.
Okay, break it down for me. How does brain science fit in here?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
The things we do, the products we buy, that's all processed by the neocortex, the logical part of our brain.
Makes sense.
But the why,
Okay.
that's our core beliefs and motivations.
Right.
That's rooted in the limbic system, the emotional center. And here's the kicker.
Okay.
The limbic system, it doesn't have a language center.
Whoa, so we're drawn to things on an emotional level even if we can't explain why.
Exactly. Think about like brands.
Okay.
You're loyal to, it's probably not because their products are slightly better.
Right.
You connect with their why.
Yeah.
You feel a shared sense of purpose.
I like that.
Like Apple.
Okay. Yeah.
People aren't just buying iPhones and laptops.
Right.
They're buying into the idea of challenging the status quo,
Interesting.
empowering individuals through technology.
That's a good why.
That's their why.
Yeah.
It resonates on a deeply emotional level.
Okay, so how do we actually uncover our own personal level?
Uh,
Does this book give us like a map
yeah,
to follow?
it does. It all starts with storytelling.
Okay.
A three-step process.
Right.
First, you dive deep into your own life experiences.
Okay.
You share these stories
Mm-hmm.
about peak moments, challenges you faced.
So not just I like that job, but
Yeah.
the real nitty-gritty detail.
Precisely. The
Okay.
more vivid the stories, the better.
Gotcha.
Then you move on to analyzing those stories, looking for recurring themes, values, motivations.
Okay.
And here's where they stress the importance of an active listener.
Okay.
You need a why detective to help see the patterns you might miss.
So not like a therapist, but someone who asks the right questions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Someone who listens without judgment,
Right.
asks open-ended questions,
Yeah.
helps you unearth your why without imposing their own ideas.
Right. It has to be your authentic, why not someone else's version of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And once you've identified those key themes,
Okay.
the final step is to craft your why statement,
Okay.
a clear and concise expression of your purpose.
So it's like building a puzzle piece by piece.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Each story, each experience adds a piece to the puzzle.
Right.
And then you get this beautiful, complete picture of your why.
Okay, I'm starting to see how powerful this could be.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical.
Okay.
Is it really possible to have just one why?
Hmm.
Like, what about people who have tons of passions and interests?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one the book tackles head on.
Okay.
It's true, we all have diverse interests.
Right.
But your why isn't about what you do.
Okay.
It's about what drives you to do it. It's the underlying force guiding your decisions.
Interesting. But what if your priorities shift or you have new experiences that reshape your outlook?
Another good point.
Yeah.
The authors address that too.
Okay.
It's not that your why changes.
Okay.
It's more that your understanding of it evolves. Like think of it like a seed that grows into a tree.
Okay.
The seed contains the essence of the tree,
Right.
but the tree's form and expression change as it grows.
Okay, so it's more about refining and clarifying our why over time.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
I like that.
That's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, and, the book dives even deeper.
Yes.
Exploring the connection between our why and our actions.
Right.
What they call our hows.
Yes.
This is where we get into the practical application, right?
Exactly.
How we bring our why to life
Right.
in our everyday choices.
Our hows are those actions,
Okay.
the strategies, approaches
Yeah.
that flow from our why. They're how we put our purpose into practice.
I see.
And the book provides some great examples from the authors themselves.
I'd love to hear about that. Like, what kind of hows did Sinek, Mead, and Docker share?
Well, Simon Sinek, for instance,
Yeah.
he highlights the importance of keeping things simple, taking an unconventional perspective, focusing on the long term,
Makes sense.
and sharing everything ideas, knowledge, even vulnerabilities.
Wow.
That's his own approach to life and work.
Okay, what about the other authors? What kind of hows resonate with them?
Well, David Mead, he emphasizes seeing the big picture,
Okay.
taking responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
exploring different viewpoints,
Uh-huh.
finishing what you start,
Right.
learning from every experience.
Okay. And Peter Docker, his approach always seems so focused on pushing boundaries.
You're right.
Yeah.
Embracing new ideas.
Yeah.
So his hows
Mm-hmm.
really emphasize making things simple,
Okay.
getting up on the balcony to see the wider context,
Yeah.
embracing new ideas,
Yeah.
building strong relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and as you said, pushing boundaries.
So it's like each of their hows is a filter
Exactly.
through which they view the world and make decisions.
Your hows become a set of principles that guide your choices,
Wow.
helping you stay aligned with your why.
That's powerful.
It's like a guidance system for your life.
This is fascinating, but I gotta ask, what about the fluff factor?
Hmm.
A lot of people might see this whole why thing as a bit too touchy-feely,
Right.
like something that doesn't apply to the hard-nosed world of business.
Yeah.
How does Find Your Why address that?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And the book doesn't shy away from it.
Okay, good.
They ground the concept of Lee-Why in brain science,
Okay.
showing how it's not just some feel-good idea,
Right.
but it's fundamental to how our brains make decisions.
So it's not just wishful thinking. There's actually a scientific basis for this.
Absolutely. And remember those examples we talked about?
Okay.
Like Apple and Southwest Airlines?
Yeah.
Those are companies that have built their entire culture
Mm-hmm.
around a strong why.
Yeah.
And it's working for them. They've attracted loyal customers,
Right.
passionate employees,
Mm-hmm.
and achieved incredible success, not just financially,
Right.
but in terms of impact and legacy.
It's not just about profits.
It's
It's
an-
about creating something that resonates with people.
On a deeper level,
Exactly.
understanding your why isn't just about finding a job you like.
Right.
It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values,
Okay.
both personally and professionally.
I'm starting to see how this could be transformative, not just for individuals,
Mm-hmm.
but for teams, organizations as a whole.
Absolutely.
Does the book delve into that as well?
They do.
How can we harness the power of why on like a collective level?
They introduce something called the tribe approach.
Okay, now we're talking. Tell me more about this tribe approach.
It's a process for discovering a shared why
Okay.
within a group,
So like a team or
a team or an organization.
All right, I'm hooked. Tell me everything. What are the key elements of this tribe approach?
Well, first it emphasizes setting the context.
Okay.
You need to have buy-in from the leadership,
Right.
and they need to create an environment where people feel safe.
Yeah, so you can't just force this on people. You need to foster that trust,
Exactly.
openness first.
Yeah. And then the tribe approach involves what they call the 3 conversations.
Okay.
And it's a structured exercise where small groups share stories,
Hmm.
identify themes, and gradually uncover the common threads that connect them.
Sounds like it could be pretty powerful if done right.
Yes.
Have you seen this in action, like companies successfully implementing this approach?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
In fact, the book is filled with case studies
Okay.
of organizations that have used the tribe approach to transform their culture.
Hmm.
For example, there's this great story about a company that was struggling,
Okay.
low morale, lack of direction.
Yeah.
They implemented the tribe approach.
Okay.
It completely revitalized the organization.
Really?
The employees felt more connected to the mission.
Wow.
They were more motivated.
So it's not just a feel-good exercise. This can actually have a tangible impact.
Exactly. When people feel aligned with a shared purpose,
Yeah.
they're more engaged, productive, which leads to better results.
And it's not just about profits either, right?
It's also about attracting
Yeah.
and retaining talent.
Because people want to work for organizations that,
It stands for something they believe in.
right, it's like that old saying, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Exactly.
And that applies to employees as well.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sold.
Good.
This tribe approach sounds like a powerful tool for building a more purpose-driven workforce.
Yeah?
But I'm also wondering,
Yeah.
is this something that can be applied beyond the corporate world?
That's a great question.
Like in our communities or even in our families?
The principles in Find Your Why
Yeah.
are definitely applicable to a wide range of contexts.
Okay.
While the book focuses primarily on businesses,
Right.
they acknowledge that these same ideas can be used in any group who are committed to a common goal.
That's really exciting to think about.
Yeah.
Like imagine applying these principles to social issues
Right.
or creating positive change in our communities.
Exactly.
The possibilities seem endless.
They are. That's the beauty of it. It's not just about finding your individual why.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how that why connects to a larger purpose
Right.
and how we can use that to create a more meaningful life.
Well, I'm feeling incredibly inspired right now.
Me too.
And I'm sure our listeners are too. But Before we get too carried away
Yeah.
with all the possibilities,
Right.
let's bring things back down to earth for a moment
Okay.
and talk about some potential challenges that people might face
Yeah.
when trying to put these ideas into practice.
That's a great point.
All right, so what kind of challenges should people be prepared for,
Well,
and how can we overcome them?
okay.
Let's dive into that after a quick break. Stay with us. All right, we're back and ready to delve deeper into this whole idea of bringing our why to life.
You know,
Yeah,
one of the things that struck me about Find Your Why
yeah.
is how they address common misconceptions.
Like what kind of misconceptions come up?
Well, for instance,
Yeah.
a lot of people wonder if it's really possible to have just one why.
Okay.
We all have so many different facets
Right. Like,
to our personality.
yeah, can it all really boil down to one driving force?
That's where the book gets insightful.
Okay.
It explains that your why isn't about what you do,
Okay.
right? It's about the motivation behind your actions,
Mm-hmm.
the why behind what. It's a compass
Right.
guiding your decisions.
Okay, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
what about those times when we feel like our priorities are shifting or
Mhm.
we have new experiences that change our perspective?
Yeah,
Does that mean our why is no longer valid?
another good point.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
the authors address this.
Okay, good.
It's not that our why is static and unchanging.
Right.
It's more that our understanding of it deepens and evolves over time.
Okay.
Like a tree growing from a seed,
Okay.
the seed contains the essence of the tree,
Right.
but the tree's form changes as it grows.
So it's less about finding like a perfect, unchanging why statement
Right.
and more about continuously refining our understanding
Yeah.
as we grow.
It's an ongoing process, not a one-time event.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Exactly.
Yeah. The book also tackles those ticker questions, like
Yeah.
can a why be bad?
Hmm.
Or even can it be just about making money?
Well,
That's interesting.
they make it clear that a vow why is positive.
Okay.
At its core,
Right.
it's about making a positive impact.
So even if someone does something terrible, their ally itself isn't evil.
Exactly. It's more likely that their actions became misaligned with their shit why, or they lost sight of their purpose.
Okay.
And as for making money,
Yeah.
money's a result,
Okay.
not a purpose.
It's a byproduct,
Right.
not the why itself.
Exactly.
Thinking back to those companies we mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
Apple, Southwest,
Hmm.
they've clearly achieved financial success.
Yes.
But their why goes beyond that. It's
Yeah.
a deeper purpose to make a difference.
They understand that profits are important,
Right.
but they're a consequence of being true to their why.
Not the end goal.
Exactly.
This is starting to make a lot of sense.
Good.
But I'm curious about how to translate this into action.
Okay.
We've talked about the why and the hows,
Hmm.
but how do they actually play out in our daily lives?
Well, they give some practical advice,
Okay.
especially when it comes to teams,
All right.
bringing your why to life within an organization.
This is what I was hoping we'd get into.
Good.
Yeah, we touched on the tribe approach earlier. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
The tribe approach,
Yeah.
it's a structured process for uncovering a shared why
Okay.
within a group.
All right. I'm hooked. Tell me everything.
Okay.
What are the key elements?
Well, it all starts with setting the context.
Okay.
You have to have buy-in from the leadership team.
So you can't just force this on people.
Right.
You need to build that culture of trust first.
Exactly. Once you have that foundation,
Yeah.
the tribe approach involves a series of conversations
Okay.
designed to connect with their why,
Mm-hmm.
explore the common threads.
That unite them.
Yes, the book outlines these conversations,
Okay.
providing a roadmap for facilitators.
Sounds intense. Have you seen examples of companies actually doing this?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
The book is filled with case studies. Like,
Yeah.
there's this one story about a company struggling with low morale.
Right.
They had a lack of direction,
Yeah.
but they implemented the tribe approach,
Okay.
and it revitalized the organization.
Really?
Employees felt more connected.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's not just a feel-good exercise.
Right. It can actually have an impact.
Exactly. When people feel aligned with a shared purpose,
Yeah.
they're more likely to be engaged,
Mm-hmm.
productive, which leads to better results.
And it's not just about profits.
Right.
It can also help attract talent
Attract and retain top talent.
because people want to work for organizations that stand for something.
Exactly.
Like, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Precisely. And that applies to employees, too.
This tribe approach sounds like a powerful tool.
Yes.
But I'm wondering, is this something that can be applied beyond the corporate world?
That's a great question.
Like, can we use these principles in
Yeah.
our communities, our families even?
Well, the principles in Find Your Why
Mm-hmm.
are applicable to a wide range of contexts.
Okay.
While the book focuses on businesses,
Right.
the authors do acknowledge that these ideas
Yeah.
could be used to build stronger connections,
Right.
create a sense of purpose in any group.
That's exciting to think about.
Yes,
Imagine applying these principles to social issues,
it's really exciting.
creating change in our communities.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, the possibilities seem endless.
It's not just about finding your individual why.
Right.
It's about understanding how that why connects to a larger purpose
Yeah.
and how we can use that to create a more meaningful life.
I'm feeling incredibly inspired right now.
Me too.
And I'm sure our listeners are too. But
Yeah.
before we get too carried away,
Right.
let's bring things back down to earth.
Okay.
Let's talk about some potential challenges that
Yes.
people might face.
It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
It's easy to get swept up in the inspiration.
Yeah.
But uncovering and living your why
Mm-hmm.
can be challenging.
So what kind of challenges should people be prepared for?
Wow.
And how can we overcome them? All right, we're back and I'm ready to get real. We've talked about the power of why, but let's be honest. It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, right.
What are some roadblocks people might hit when they try to put these ideas into practice?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles is just getting started.
Okay.
People might feel overwhelmed,
Yeah, I can relate to that.
not knowing where to begin.
Even after all this question, I still feel a little intimidated by
Yeah.
the idea of actually,
Right.
digging into those stories and trying to craft my own why statement. It feels like a big commitment.
It is a commitment,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be daunting.
Okay.
The book offers some really practical tips,
Okay.
like starting small.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to unearth your entire life story
Right.
in one sitting.
Okay.
Just focus on one or two
Yeah.
specific experiences that stand out to you.
Okay.
Moments of joy, moments of challenge, moments where you felt truly alive.
Right, right.
Just start writing and see where it takes you.
That's helpful advice. Sometimes I get stuck in that analysis paralysis, overthinking everything before I even take the first step.
Right.
But what about those times when you're digging into those stories
I-
and you just can't find any common threads? Like,
No.
what if my experiences feel scattered and random?
That's a common struggle.
Yeah.
And it's where having an active listener can be so helpful.
Okay.
Sometimes we're just too close to our own experiences
Yeah.
to see the patterns.
Right.
A fresh perspective can help illuminate those connections.
So finding that why detective is crucial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone who can act as a mirror,
Yeah.
reflecting back our stories,
Yeah.
helping us see the bigger picture.
It doesn't have to be a professional, right?
No, not at all. It
Yeah.
can be a friend, a mentor,
Yeah.
even a colleague
Right.
who's also on this journey.
Okay.
The key is to find someone who can listen deeply without judgment.
Right. And ask those questions that help you dig below the surface.
Exactly.
But what about when it comes to actually living your why?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I imagine things can get really tricky.
That's the real work, isn't it?
Yeah, how do we ensure that our actions stay aligned with our why?
Well, the book emphasizes that living your why is an ongoing practice.
Okay.
It's not a destination.
Right.
It's about checking in with yourself,
Okay.
asking those tough questions. Is this aligned with my why?
Right. Am I making choices that are taking me closer to my purpose?
Exactly.
Or am I getting sidetracked?
You got it.
So it's almost like having that internal compass guiding you,
Exactly.
even when we face distractions or challenges.
And it's not always about making drastic changes.
Right.
Sometimes it's small adjustments,
Okay.
course correcting along the way.
The key is to be mindful.
Yeah, be aware of your why
Yeah.
and how it's showing up
Okay.
or not showing up.
In your daily life.
Right.
This is all so insightful, but
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder,
Mm-hmm.
what about those of us who are still figuring it all out? What if we haven't uncovered our why yet?
Right.
Or we're still unsure about our purpose?
That's okay.
Okay.
Remember, the journey of discovering your why is a process.
Right.
It's not an event.
Okay.
And even if you haven't articulated it perfectly,
Yeah.
you can still start living in alignment with your values.
Okay.
Start by asking yourself those big questions.
Like what? What kind of questions?
What do I care about deeply? What kind of impact do I want to make?
Okay.
What brings me joy and fulfillment?
That's reassuring to hear. It's not about having it all figured out
Exact.
right away. It's about being open to the journey.
Trusting that your why will reveal itself.
That makes sense.
The more you lean into that journey,
Yeah.
the more clarity you'll gain.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Try new things, see what resonates.
Your why is out there waiting to be discovered.
Listening to all of this has really shifted my perspective.
Okay.
I used to think of finding my weatherby as this monumental task,
I understand.
this pressure to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
But now I see it more as like an invitation,
hmm
a gentle unfolding.
It's a process of becoming more aligned with yourself.
Exactly.
And it's important to remember,
Yeah.
your why is not something you create.
Okay.
It's something you uncover.
It's already there,
It's within you.
waiting to be revealed.
The more you embrace that journey,
Mm-hmm.
the more fulfilling your life will become.
Well, on that inspiring note, I think it's time to wrap things up.
Sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring the power of why,
Mm-hmm.
the steps to uncovering it,
Yes.
and the challenges and rewards of living a more purpose-driven life.
It's been a great conversation.
I know, I'm walking away feeling energized and motivated
Me
to
too.
continue on my own journey of self-discovery.
Absolutely. And I hope our listeners
Yeah,
feel inspired to embark on their own semi-wide journeys.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Find Her Why.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning,
Yes.
and keep diving deep into the things that matter most to you.
Thank you for joining us at Wisdom House, where we bring you timeless insights from the greatest books. If you found this deep dive valuable, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom House. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next video.